Your #1 informative television. Join me, Rida Chebet, every day as I bring you the latest news at Maisha Live at 1 and update at 6, right here at Maisha Television.
Wakati mafuta imeongeza hivi, wao wameongeza commission yao to 28.1%.
I have a visual disability,
yes,
which has been with me for a long time.
No, I'm asking the second part.
Swala la utovu wa nidhamu limezua hisia mseto nchini.
Caning is not bad for the students. Juu hata sisi wazazi wetu walikuwa natuadhibu tukiwa wadogo when we were growing up.
We are now more organized than ever before.
Indeed, this is the fastest growing television in Kenya.
At Maisha Television, we are impartial and independent.
The presidential election of the 26th October is hereby upheld.
Every day, we create distinctive professional programs, content which inform, educate, and entertain.
If the money has been approved, then it should be disbursed on time.
We go an extra mile to let you know of all that is happening around.
Wawe smart, wawe wasafi.
We make it easier for you to access information, a right provided by the Constitution. This is where your opinion counts.
Oya ni aje, mimi ndio Jonte Fresh. Mimi ndio nimetambulika hii gikomba yote sekta ya manguo. Juu transform nguo ordinary za mtush zenye ziuka mna hii harufu ya bail into the freshest igikos yote. Siri ni hii real mpya ya pink. Na kushow mtush zinang'ara kung'ara kushinda kamera. So clean, so fresh. Ma customer unaisana na hii story. Ninatumia aerial touch of down mpya tu.
Good evening, and you're right on time for Maisha Prime News. My name is Rida Chebet, carrying here at some of our top stories.
Marehemu ndio tunajua na kunywa hivi tukali. Nasikia alikuwa anatoka kwa jirani hapa akipita. Mposa huyu akampata, wakavurutana, akaletwa hapa karibu na barabara, ndio ameuawa.
The investors no longer have confidence in us. The world, the sponsors no longer can help us in terms of COVID and all other help that we need from the international community, simply because we've refused to fight corruption.
Welcome. ANC party leader Musalia Mudavadi has revealed that the three coalition partners are already formulating paperwork that will see the end of NASA coalition. The coalition agreement stipulates that NASA can only cease to exist if three partners decide to pull out. The Ford Kenya party leader Moses Wetangula says that they are also planning to take ODM to court over political parties funding that has been disbursed to ODM since 2017. Bushebi Jr. has the full report.
The Wiper, Amani National Congress ANC and Ford Kenya parties are planning to officially withdraw from the National Super Alliance NASA after fallout with the Orange Democratic Movement ODM. NC party leader Musalia Mudavadi revealed that the three coalition partners are already formulating paperwork that will see the end to NASA coalition. The coalition agreement stipulates that NASA can only cease to exist if the three partners decide to pull out. Ford Kenya Party leader Moses Wetangula says that they are also planning to take ODM to court over political parties' funding that has been disbursed to ODM since 2017. Wiper Party leader Kalonzo Musyoka, according to Wetangula, was mandated to address the issue with ODM party leader Raila Odinga, but Odinga and ODM are said to have snubbed any negotiations with Kalonzo Musyoka for the last 6 months. A meeting that was meant to happen on May 7th failed to happen after ODM Deputy Party Leader Wycliffe Oparanya failed to show up, further complicating the matter. ODM Secretary General Edwin Sifuna, however, rubbished the matter, claiming that ODM does not owe anything to the three parties.
Mimi ndio nilikuwa nakuja kwenu kwa villages nikimwambia NASA hawa, NASA hawa, NASA. Nikaongeza TBM, Tiara Land, so on. Mnakumbuka? Naomba tutoke huko.
Reporting for Maisha TV, I'm Bushebi Jr.
And the Supreme Court has ruled that the Muruatetu case can only be applied in murder cases, dealing a blow to hundreds of prisoners who hope that they could get their freedom by riding on the case. Chief Justice Martha Koome, in an inaugural sitting of the Supreme Court, admitted that the 2017 Supreme Court ruling that declared the mandatory sentence unconstitutional for the offense of murder had created a lot of confusion in its application. However, she said that the ruling can only apply to murder and other capital offenses such as treason and robbery with violence should be properly filed in court.
The Attorney General is directed to urgently set up a framework to deal with sentencing hearing of cases relating to the mandatory nature of the death sentence, which is similar to that of the petitioners in this case. Further, at paragraph 71 of the judgment, the court nullified paragraph 6, 4, and 6 to 6, 7 of the Judiciary Sentencing Policy Guidelines, which were to the effect that the court must impose the death sentence in all capital offenses in accordance with the law. In view of our holding in the judgment in question, those paragraphs were no longer applicable. It should be apparent from the foregoing that Muruatetu cannot be the authority for stating that all the provisions of the law prescribing mandatory or minimum sentences are inconsistent with the Constitution.
And now to Nairobi's leadership. Anne Kananu's swearing in as Nairobi governor has been halted by the High Court pending the hearing and determination of an appeal filed by Okia Omtata. The Court of Appeal judges Wanjiru Karanja, Jesse Lesit and Justice Jamila Mohammed stated that the order barring the swearing in of Kananu as governor shall be in place until October 22nd. The court shall then issue new directions. Kananu has been the deputy governor of the nation's capital since her swearing in on January 15, 2021, with the governor's office vacant after Mike Mbuvi Sonko was impeached by the county assembly in December 2020. Kananu should have been sworn in as governor as early as January 18, 2021. A petition was filed by the Law Society of Kenya, which termed the process of her appointment, vetting and assumption to office as unconstitutional. The High Court issued orders stopping the swearing-in ceremony from taking place. In April, Kananu announced that she will run for the office of governorship in 2022 general elections. Well, and with 13 months to the general elections, the Interior CS Fred Matiang'i has revealed that the government is set to launch a team to map out hate speech hotspots ahead of the 2022 general elections. The multi-agency team will begin the task of mapping out areas where speeches that could spark violence in the country occur as early as next week. This team will complement the job done by the National Cohesion and Integration Commission (NCSC), which has at times seemed like a toothless dog. Let's have a look.
Interior Cabinet Secretary Fred Matiang'i has asked police officers to adopt a bottom-up approach in dealing with public so as to build trust and confidence ahead of the high-stake general election in 2022.
We are better prepared now and better organized now than we were before. We are going to have our multi-agents team, the technical arm that is coordinated by our peers, begins the roadmap. And
while acknowledging that public confidence in agents tasked with enforcing the law currently stands at 63%, compared to 29% in 2009. Matiang'i challenged the officers to strengthen and deepen their interaction with the people at the grassroots level. He spoke on Monday during a one-day Inspector General of Police Hilary Mutyambai's conference that brings together all county and regional police commanders and other heads of police formations.
Up across the country, areas where we think there may be hotspots or where things may happen that we need to check, so that we are totally prepared to deal with them. As you all know, this madness is not usually perpetuated by ordinary wananchi, because after all, right now they are going about their activities, they have no problem with anyone, they are in their marketplaces, they are doing their business, they are interacting amongst themselves without a problem. So why should they fight tomorrow and the day after? It's because some desperate politician is inciting them, or some people who have certain challenges and are greed about getting political power are inciting them, and they want them to fight. For the next 12 months, we are going to do all the simulations, all the planning that we need to do, and ensure that we are ready to support a very, very peaceful electoral process in the country, so that we should never have the challenges we have had in the past.
The approach of working more with the communities, Matiang'i underscored, will be critical in averting any violence that may occur during and after the polls. With the 2022 general election 13 months away, Matiang'i noted that it is through such interaction that the country will remain stable and secure during the entire electioneering process. Matiang'i revealed that already a multi-agents team of security personnel has been deployed in areas deemed to be hotspot for possible violence before and after the polls. While the team traverses the country to assess the security situations and suppress any rogue elements who will be out to cause chaos, Matiang'i asked the officers not to be intimidated as they perform their duties.
But I want to ask you, my brothers and sisters, you are Kenyans as much as we, your leaders, are, as much as those politicians are. Do not be intimidated, and let us not give in to anything that will hurt the stability and security of our country.
Interior Principal Secretary Karanja Kibicho gave assurance that the police will do their work effectively to ensure that Kenya is fully secured. We spoke to Kenyans about their views on threats of political incitement in the run-up to 2022 polls, and this is what they had to say.
Hiyo kitu ya kuchochea mimi hata wakifika kwangu hakuna vile naweza saidiana, sababu baadaye watanichochea mimi nitabaki nyumbani niumie, labda hakuna mtu atanisaidia. Nakuja wanaleta huku shida, wanarudi kule wananyamaza.
Kuchochea kwa kuuliza vijana kama wataungana nao, unapata mwanasiasa anaita vijana anawapea shilingi 50 ya 100. 100 itasaidia kwa sababu wakati wewe unaua mwenzako, wanasiasa wanatoka hapo, wanaenda kwa mahoteli, wanakutana kwa mahoteli, wanakula. Sasa ile nyinyi mmeumia huku.
Siwezi kushawishiwa kwa ile njia yoyote kufanya ama kuleta mchafuko wowote kwa ajili ya manufaa yake. Mimi nitazingatia sheria iliyowekwa na mujibu wa inji.
Unaweza enda kuripoti, kumbe wako upande wao, mrengo yao, upatikane tena wanakuwekea makosa. Sasa hiyo mimi siwezi nikaenda kuripoti kwa sababu mimi nachunga maisha yangu, pia huyu anachunga maisha yake.
Hapo mara hiyo nitaenda kwa police station ni ripoti ile kisa na yule mtu achukuliwe sheria.
In February, NCIC listed former Nairobi Governor Mike Sonko, MP Simba Arati Dagoretti North, Johannes Ngeno Emurwa Dikir, and Sylvanus Osoro South Mugirango in its inaugural Wall of Shame list. Reporting for Maisha TV, I'm Philip Simiu.
And residents of Busia County are decrying the ongoing water shortage being experienced within some parts of the county. The frustrated residents say they have struggled without water for 2 months now saying that it's affecting their efforts towards combating the COVID-19. Some of the residents have now resorted to using other means of water resources, which they say are not safe, and therefore they fear of an outbreak of waterborne diseases.
Tangi ziko hapo, lakini hatuoni chochote. Kwa hivyo afya yetu ndio ya muhimu. Tunaomba serikali tuangalie na ituletee maji.
Hali imekuwa ngumu, hatuwezi kuendelesha biashara yetu vizuri kwa sababu hatuna maji. Na ikifika mwezi bili inakuja na tujui imetoka wapi.
Choo yenyewe ambayo iko ndani ya soko haina maji. Soko lenyewe halina maji. Ukiangalia matanki ya maji yapo. County government yenyewe inakuja inachukua ushuru kwa hawa wamama ambao wanauza mboga, wanauza nyanya na vyakula mbalimbali. Lakini haiwezi kuwaletea maji.
Tukikosa maji ya kwa tap zetu ya maji ambayo iko treated, inakuwa vigumu kuzuia kuenea kwa ugonjwa wa COVID-19. Tunahatarisha kwa sababu tayari tuko na COVID-19 na tuko na nyingi waterborne diseases, kwa sababu kuna water vendors. Sasa wale ambayo wachuuzi wa maji hatujui wametoa wapi hiyo maji.
Na sisi hapa kama Buasco tulikuwa na deni la Kenya Power. Tulikuwa hapo nyuma ilikuwa milioni 7 tukalipa, na hiyo department ilisaidia kulipa, na wakati huo department ilimaliza vote head ya last financial year. Kwa hivyo kwa huo muda baada ya kulipa hilo deni, tena bills zimeaccumulate ikafika karibu milioni 6 tunapoongea saa hizi.
3 billion shillings have been released to settle the pending payment of the employees from the Kazi Mtaani program. Speaking in Molo during the issuance of title deeds to over 4,000 residents of Elbagon in Nakuru County, the Principal Secretary for the State Department of Housing Planning, Charles Inga, said that the government is looking for funds to resume the Kazi Mtaani program. So far, about 16 billion shillings has been utilized in the program, with more than 200,000 youths across the country benefiting. The program was started in 2020 to cushion the youths whose job had been affected by the coronavirus pandemic.
Lakini ninataka kuwafahamisha kwamba sasa tuko na budget kuanzia hii mwaka mpya umefunguliwa sasa jana, tuko na budget ya 3 billion. Tumeanza hiyo process ya kuanza kuprocess hizo pesa za vijana, na inakuaga sio kupenda. Unajua tumekuwa na changamoto kidogo hivi kuhusu mambo ya pesa, na kama tungeweza hifadhi program tutaendelea. Kwa hivyo hata hiyo 3 billion kisha tutaenda tafuta zingine.
Through the Kazi Mtaani niliweza kujilipia kushona. Mimi mwenyewe ndio nilijilipia. Nimesoma for 1 month women clothing, then now also another 1 month for men clothing, and right now I'm doing good. I have my own business. Nimenunua mashini na pesa ya Kazi Mtaani, na nangoja kurudi shule and continue the same.
Corruption remains the biggest monster that has crippled the country's economy, but as the investigation agencies intensify the fight against the graft, political leaders have opened a tough political war of words, with each raising an accusing finger against the other. The mega corruption scandals have hit President Uhuru Kenyatta's Jubilee administration, with efforts to prosecute culprits bearing no fruit. Let's have a look.
We will jail these people who have been stealing our money. What is wrong with that?
For the third day running, ODM leader Raila Odinga and Deputy President William Ruto have continued their tirade through their allies in a political war that seems to be far from over.
The investors no longer have confidence in us. The world, the sponsors no longer can help us in terms of COVID and all other help that we need from the international community, simply because we've refused to fight corruption.
Deputy President William Ruto told former Prime Minister Raila Odinga over recent attacks by the ODM party that the Deputy President is the most corrupt individual.
Mambo ya kitendawili, tuambieni agenda yenu ni gani? Na mimi niliwaonya, niliwaambia hawa wangwana, they are rudderless, they are planless, they are agendaless. Ndio mnaona hata saa hizi hawajielewi kama wako serikali ama wako upinzani.
Mr. Odinga on Saturday on a tour at the coastal region directed his aggressive salvos at DP Ruto's donations to churches and various groups, saying the millions of shillings donated are taxpayers' money stolen from public coffers.
Hakuna mtu nauliza hiyo pesa. Wezi ambao natakana wawe shimulatewa. Wanatembea na mahelikopta kila mahali kuja hapa kutoa pesa pande hii pande hii pande hii. Hii ni taifa gani? Hii ni taifa gani? Sisi tukishika hatamu ya utawala hao wezi wataingia ndani wote.
However, the DP in retaliation during a church service in Umoja on Sunday said Mr. Odinga's tenure in government was characterized by corruption and theft of money meant for the youth.
Hawa watu, ndugu zetu hawa, ni watu wa ajabu sana. Ni watu wa ajabu sana. Kwa sababu wakiwa huko kwa serikali walikuwa wanaibia vijana. Sasa wako upinzani wameibia watu wagonjwa kupitia kwa ile inaitwa COVID billionaires. Sasa mkiwa serikali mnaiba, mkiwa upinzani mnaiba.
Ruto added that Raila Odinga was using the handshake with President Uhuru Kenyatta to loot money from the government. He said that it was only in Kenya where the opposition could purport to run government, further stating that he is in no way ashamed of making donations in church and helping the lowly in society.
And the irony of the whole of this thing is that it is only in Kenya. It is only in Kenya where the opposition pretends to run the government. And the opposition runs corruption cartels in government.
Mr. Odinga on Saturday said he will arrest and jail all corrupt officials under the current Jubilee government should he assume power next year, in a yet another clear indication that he will be making another stab at the top seat. And as the 2022 succession matrix holds up, the former premier seemingly turned his guns on DP Ruto, questioning the source of billions of shillings donated to churches and various groups. The two political nemesis stirred up their foot soldiers, who now have stopped at nothing to escalate this tirade with less than 14 months to the general election. Ruto's statement pricked many in the ODM party, who are now calling for his resignation.
When we reach there, when we reach Canaan, we will jail these people who have been stealing our money. What is wrong with that? I mean, that is a language you've been speaking all along, that corruption must be fought.
So Honorable Raila is right to talk about corruption, because we want the next regime that comes to power must be a regime that will promise that is going to fight corruption.
So the people down there whom he is talking to about bottoms-up approach should ask him, when you were deputy president for the last 8 years, these 30% corruption money would have revolutionized and changed the nini of the people. So I don't think this leaves the people anywhere other than the fact that they know the person who has been steadfast, consistent about the fight of corruption, and that is Raila Amolo Odinga.
Those on the deputy president quarters also did not spare the former prime minister, accusing him of benefiting from corrupt proceeds.
Siasa yako tangu uzaliwe imekuwa siasa ya chuki. Kila siku ni kutishia huyu, ile siku ingine ni kutishia yule. Ati unasema ukikuwa rais utavuka William Ruto. Nataka kukuuliza, utavuka kwa jera gani na utakuwa rais katika nchi gani? Waezi wa Kenya tunawajua. Walianza na kuiba mashamba zetu, wakaiba mababu zetu. Wakakuja makaiba mabenki zote, wakaiba makampuni zote za agribusiness na zile zingine. Tunawajua kwa majina. Hatuwataji saa hii kwa sababu ya nidhamu. But we look at you and you know the thieves of this country.
Wajinga Kenya waliisha, na muache kujifanya ati nyinyi ndio weupe kama pamba. Hakuna maneno kama hayo, tumekuwa na nyinyi hii Kenya and we know where you are coming from.
The push and pull in the run-up to the general election is expected to increase as politicians dash to and fro in a bid to form coalitions, express allegiance, and secure positions that will give them desired wins in 2022. For Maisha TV, Bushebe Jr.
Police are holding a middle-aged man in Teso South, Busia County for allegedly killing a 70-year-old man. According to police, the suspect had a physical confrontation with the deceased over an illicit love affair before they committed the atrocious act.
Fika hapo nikajaribu kuchungulia sauti, nikachunguza ni sauti ya jirani wangu ambaye mwenye mimi namtambua. Nikaweza kufika karibu na hapo, akanishautia we nani. Ilibidi mimi pia kurudi nyuma kidogo. Urudi nyuma, nikaenda nikaamusha bibi. Ni mtu mwenye mimi namjua ndiye anachapa mtu, lakini mwenye anachapa simjui ni nani.
Marehemu ndio tunajua na kunywa hivi tukali. Nasikia alikuwa anatoka kwa jirani hapo akipita. Ndiposa huyu akampata, wakavurutana, akaletwa hapa karibu na barabara, ndiye amewawa.
And now on Maisha Business News, a case has been filed at the Milimani Law Court seeking to have the 16% value-added tax on the cooking gas suspended. The petitioner, a Nairobi resident, argues that in passing the Finance Bill 2020 in the midst of COVID-19 pandemic, the National Assembly did not engage members of the public for constructive public participation, which is mandatory in the Constitution. Dindi Oscar Okumu argues that the imposition of the VAT tax will reverse the gains made in terms of environmental conservation, besides violating Kenyans' rights to life, food, clean environment, and dignity. Last week, President Uhuru Kenyatta approved key bills affecting taxes, including 16% added tax to the supply of LPG gas and greater excise duty to telephone and data services, which will result in higher airtime and internet costs.
Honourable members, the petitioner affirms that following assent of the Finance Act 2020, VAT on the supply of liquefied petroleum gas was revised upwards from a zero rate to standard rate, effective 1st of July 2021. This revision, in his view, will inhibit uptake of LPG and works against the global commitment by governments to reduce carbon emissions by encouraging poor households to revert to cheaper fuels with high carbon and other greenhouse gases.
Well, it is a pleasure to have your company throughout the bulletin. That's all you had for Maisha Prime. My name is Rida Chebet Karim. Have a lovely night.
Good morning, my baby. I am fine, fine, fine. How did you feel, baby? So fine, fine, fine. Why so fine, fine, fine? Soft hair, fine, fine, fine. I'm happy you're dry. Soft hair, very soft. Soft Care Baby Diaper uses high technology. Pro-level leak protection is designed for your baby. Asante Soft Care. Syria Mama.